Hey folks, welcome to the stream. It's Saturday afternoon and we've got some development to do once again. And the first thing we're going to look at is something that was bothering me since we started the end level stuff, which was basically, I'm going to display it here in a second, right? And that is that if we hit the end level, you'll notice that things break that aren't there. Okay? So, with that in mind, we need to stop that happening. Now, it would appear to me that when we create the level, or level layout straight, has code that either shows the wood piece or does not. Right now, it doesn't appear to me that it's destroying the component. Right? It appears to me that it's actually hiding the component. Okay, so it is actually destroying the component. So I don't know why it's doing that. Okay. So in theory, this should delete the wood block, which it is, but it's not removing it. Can we... That's not going to work. What I was thinking was, can we detach it, right? But detaching it wouldn't make any difference. Right, so we're going to have a think about this. Okay, so I was expecting to find this to be hidden and actually not destroyed. And the interesting thing now has got to be right. We'll leave that there. We'll check our outliner, right? And we'll go to straight. And if we select one of these, and there we go, that one does not have this straight, does not have a BP wood block. Right? And this one, as you can see here, also does not have that wood block. And neither does that. Now that's what I was expecting to see, but if I press this button, you'll notice that there's something does actually break in front of me. That shouldn't actually be there. Oh, I'm an idiot. Right, okay, I understand now. Right? When you think about it, it's absolutely should happen. Right? And that's because the wood block, the effect, is actually a particle system on the pawn. Right? So you'll notice that there is a particle system 1 and 2 here. Right? So under normal circumstances, if any of these fire, it fires the particle system in front of the user, right? So that's why it's happening. Okay. So what we will actually have to do is find our wood block, and if we are now in end level mode, we're going to have to do something different. Right? So if we go to our wood block, we've got this action. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to our pawn, and we're going to go to our variables, right? And okay, we'll add a variable and we'll say end level activated, and this is going to be a bool. We'll save that. Okay. And we can set it here. To true. I probably shouldn't do this here. I should probably do it in the main code. But hey ho, it'll do. It'll work the same either way, as long as I remember that that is there. It'll be absolutely fine. Right, so the next thing we need to do is in our wood block, okay, we get the end level activated, and we do a branch, and we actually do a knot, right? So we put that there, and we plug in our branch, And then this goes straight to destroy actor. Okay. And that sorts out our wood smash issue. Now, if we need to, we can get the position of the wood block and actually spawn a particle system here, so that all of the actual... Hi, Sumit. Penny Grahi. How you doing? Right, so now we should get the wood smashy thing. Okay. So if I do this, it should just disappear. And there you go. Now, as I said, I am now actually tempted to spawn that particle system. Right, so we'll try that. We'll say self actor. Yeah, I kind of recognise your name, but I wasn't too sure. I get a lot of names on here, so you'll have to forgive me if I don't. Yeah, working away on it. Where was I the last time? So we're getting actor location, right? Now, we may need to actually do a scene. In fact, we'd probably be better with us doing it at a certain plank. Right, so actually if I do it at plank 3, right, probably is about the best. So we'll do that. We'll try it. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete that. We're going to get plank 3. And we'll say world location. Now, if I remember correctly, this might not be the best idea. Where was I the last time, Sumit? The last time you saw? Because we've obviously made a heck of a lot of progress in that time. Right, so we're going to spawn system at location. Yeah, I don't remember either. Cinematics. I don't think so, because oh yeah, got you. So that was the menus. I've got so many tricks, I forget what that particular trick was. Right. Yeah, under normal circumstances, it's not that I'm not interested in first person stuff. I'm not interested in first person shooters. They're so cliche at this point, it's boring. Right, now if this ended up, well, put it this way, this game would never have came about if the initial idea was anything to do with a first person shooter, put it that way. Oh yeah. Ah, right, got you, I remember now. Got you. So you thought that I was using chaos to break the wood. That's what it was. But I'm just throwing up a particle system in front of the player's eyes. Which tricks them into thinking that I've actually broken something in front of them, which I didn't. Right, so we're trying to do the same, well, we're not trying to do the same thing again, we're actually yeah, it's a particle effect. It's this effect here, right, which I can't remember which one it is, but if we go to our pawn and we go to our event graph, and I believe, interesting, it's actually this wood smash, right? Right, and the particle system is wood fracture. Now the question is, this is not a Niagara. So actually, I should do this. We're going to copy that. And we're going to paste that. And this actually isn't a part, isn't, this is spawn emitter at location, and this one is going to be wood fracture. Now I may need to end up putting a scene component in here, because if I remember correctly, and I might be wrong and we can check it out in a minute, right? Now this ain't gonna like that, so what we're going to do is, we have got the pawn, the player pawn at this point, so what I can actually do is go down and say wood cues, delete that. And this has been a bit sneaky again, I must admit, in this instance, but since this is only going to happen once at the end of the level, and by the way, if anybody watching doesn't realise, what's happening is, at the end of the level, when the player activates the end of level sequence, all the doors get opened, all the wood, these wood things get smashed. Okay? what we need to do is we need to check our pawn again, and the particle system is 2 by 2 by 2, so we're going to need to replicate that. We actually probably don't need to. This might look crap anyway. Right, but we'll save it there. Right, and then we'll immediately have to change it. Because we need to put that in there. Then we'll have to tidy it up in a minute. And I still don't get this Streamlabs and the actual YouTube view, because on Streamlabs it currently says I have 8 viewers, but concurrent viewers on YouTube says I've got, well, it was 0 a minute ago. It now says for some reason I've got 4, right? Even though the Streamlabs says 8. Make that make sense, because I certainly can't. Right, what we're going to do here is we're going to move this, and then we're going to move that, then we're going to save that, and we're going to do a save all, and I'm quite glad I did that. Right, so if you're still watching, Sammy, this is the one time I'm not playing a trick, right? But for the most part, this is purely, I'll explain it, right? I'll explain it by showing you. Right, now I knew that was going to happen, right? So this will explain it nicely. Yes, the game will have an end. And it has got an end. Right. Now, at this point, you'll see that there's teleporters, right? That's a new thing that was added. So that allows you to see if there's monsters down the hall where the teleporter is, right? And that is viewing this teleporter. So if I go down here, I'm seeing that one that I just looked in from that teleporter's point of view. Okay? Right, so that's the teleporter down there, and that teleporter there, right? But what we need to do is, to show you the effect I'm trying to do at the moment, is we need to find the wood block, right? And then I can show you what I'm doing here. Right. When the level ends, all the doors get opened, right? And all these blocks get broken. Okay, so you'll notice there's a door to the left there that's closed, and there's a block here. Right, now say the player picks up the last pickup here, okay, then all of the things should break. Now I don't want them just to disappear. No, the teleporters are going to be placed at strategic points on the map by me, right? So there'll be a couple of teleporters. They've obviously got a pair, right? They work in pairs. So each teleporter gets matched up with a different one. And then you can basically move around the map or escape a bad guy by jumping in a teleporter. But the teleporter works as a camera so that you can see where you're going and if there's a bad guy there, because obviously you don't want to jump in a teleporter if you're immediately going to get spotted by a vampire and killed, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to press the button that simulates the end of level, and that's the one time that I'm not tricking you. Okay, but I'm still tricking you, okay? All I did was actually spawned an emitter at each of the remaining wood blocks, okay? That wasn't chaos, that was just me basically doing a particle system at every single block, and you'll notice that the door is open now. All the doors are open. And basically the monster's now chasing me. You can see it on the map, and you can actually see the end point. Okay, so the monster is now actually chasing me, right? So we need to put that code back because basically I took it out, and I'll show you how this works. Hopefully. Let me. So basically that works perfectly, and that's exactly what I wanted. And this is the mini-map to Portal. Right, and then it moves back again, right? So basically what I wanted to do here, and the effect I wanted, well, the teleporter can be anything I want them to be, right? They can appear when I want them to appear. I can make it a certain number of state pickups, or I can make it a special pickup, a teleporter pickup, let's say, that opens up to teleporters. I can do it any way I want. The point is that teleporters work, right? So the logic behind this part is, what I wanted to happen was that when you have picked up, let's think of the example as Pac-Man, right? In Pac-Man, when you pick up the final pill, the level ends, okay? But in this particular case, when you pick up the final pill, it opens a portal, and you've got to get to the portal, okay? And then the level ends. Now, when you do that, all the doors are opened, all the wood is broken, the monsters take on a different AI logic, and you're on a countdown timer, okay? So what I needed to do at this point was show the player where the portal is, okay? So what I did was I get the mini-map to move to the portal, and then move back to the player to give the player an idea of where the portal is. So if you watch this, right, and then obviously I've now also got an indicator on the minimap for where the portal is, right? So that's the way I wanted to do it. Now I've also got our scene capture is at 5,000 at the moment, when it should be at 3,500. And this is the way it will actually look in the game. No, I've just got a different tree, a different branch of the tree that goes down. I can show you that as well, right? So when we hit end level, the monster screams, waits for the animation to finish, then it gets the player location, the portal location, and then starts running a service. And that service tells the monster which is closer, the player or the portal. Now, if the player is closer, then it goes to the portal. Once it hits the portal, it sets to chasing, right, which sets it into normal mode where it goes for the player. And if it gets to the player, then it does the same, right? So basically, the monsters start either heading to the player or the portal, and then they basically go into chasing mode. Okay? So it's just a different branch of this tree, right? So that's the normal branches, and then end level basically sets up a couple of extra variables. Now this isn't complete yet, but I set up the basics for it, for the logic, so you can actually, well, it was actually last night, you could see it basically jumping between the two when it was doing the which one is closer, the player or the portal. So what it would do is it would get to the portal, then the player would be further away, so it would then go to the player, then suddenly the portal would be further away, so it would just basically jump between these two, which was the expected behaviour, but obviously it wasn't going to stay as that logic, because then basically the monster would be stuck there forever, which isn't what we want. Right, so there's one more thing that we're going to move on to next, since we've got that all working how we want, and that is when we press this, okay, you can see there that it moves to there, and we've got a rather nice mini map now, and that moves us back so we know where to go. Okay, so our next thing is, well, actually, blink and you'll miss it. Up to the top right, there's a countdown timer. Okay, so if we press play and do that again, I don't actually need to have the mini map up for this, but we'll do it anyway. Right, up in the top right, there is a countdown timer. Okay, now at the moment most of that is just for graphical effect. It doesn't actually do anything at the moment, but we do have plans for it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to close everything down, and then we're going to go back to our HUD, and we're going to go to our countdown timer, and that's actually all working, right? But the thing is, when we create this widget, we want this time to be something that has a relationship between the player's location and the portal location, okay? So, with that in mind, we're going to do that. So the player is going to get a certain amount of time that is ratioed against the distance away that our portal is. Okay? So if we go to our start end level sequence, this is where we do our spawn portal, right? We're we're going to delete that for now. And we actually know this position. So what I'm actually going to do here is I'm going to create another variable, and I'm going to say distance to portal. We're going to change that to float. I'm just wondering, Sammy, how much of the menu did you see? Because right now the menu is pretty much complete. And then there is another part which is like the in between. There's a level in between, right? Where you pick which level you want to go to. Right, so distance to portal is going to be basically this. Right, now we'll keep it separate for now. We'll recombine those pins. And we'll say distance to D and we're going to duplicate that, and then that is going to be self, right? And then we can basically put that in there. And that can go in there. Then we can drag that out a bit. If we drag that up a bit, it will be fine. Right. So, if we zoom in on this, we've got seconds left. Okay. And now what we do is we get this distance to portal, right? And we know that a one normal speed is about 800, but the distance, we don't know how far that is in seconds, so we'd probably need to do a bit of testing, right? So I'm quickly doing a calculation in my head here. So if we say, I don't know, let's say divided by, let's say divided by 30. Right? And then that's going to be our seconds. Now I do know that each of the targets are obviously going to be a different amount away, but we'll see what happens. Right, so if I press 0, we get 165 seconds, and it's the one on the bottom right. So I know it's about, I think it's about 5,400 away. Right, and I really don't want that countdown timer to wiggle about. Okay, and we probably need to do an outline on it in case they've got it over a light part. So we'll work on that in a second, but first of all, right, I know I'm going to have to do some work on this, but we'll just get it close to what we want for now. Right, so we're basically going to want a shadow outline right, we do want an outline. Right, I'm wondering if we need quite a big number there. Outline settings. Yeah, that's a bit much. Two. Can we do 1.5? I think that'll have, yeah, we can only do one. Apply outline. Right, let's have a look to see what that actually says. Apply outline to drop shadows. Nope, no idea what that means. Right, wait a minute. Hi, Mr. Spock, how you doing? And I can't remember where this. One. And what was the minimum desired width for that? I put 5, even though it didn't seem to do anything. It'll do the same, I suppose. Right, what does that one say? 1. Outline colour black. Right, did we change anything else here? That doesn't look the same. Right? But it's the same sentence. Okay, whatever. 1. And this was 5. Right, so let's see if this is a bit more outstanding when we do this. This is a countdown timer, Mr. Spock, that I may or may not see. Also, you might not have seen the portal thing, right? So I was working on the indicator for the portal, so when you basically finish the level, the minimap moves to the portal. That's going to show all the time to give you an indicator of where the portal is. Then it moves back to there, right? And you'll see up the top right, we've now got a countdown timer. And that's calculated from the distance you are from the portal. Okay, and we're putting an outline round about it to make it stand out a bit more, which I think it does. Right now, we are obviously going to adjust the settings of it. And we might actually make it part of the minimap thing, because it does kind of relate to that. So what I'm saying here is, if I move it onto the minimap, so that instead of the number of the pickups that you've got to get, those disappear and you get the countdown timer next to the minimap. That's my feeling on this one. Don't know what you guys think, but that's what I'm beginning to think in my head is what's going to happen. In fact, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Right, so what we're actually going to do here is we're going to do something a bit funky. And we're going to do some widget switcher. We're going to do widget switcher! Yay! Right, I shall be back in a moment, folks. I'm going to go for a comfort break, grab a ciggy, and get a drink. Well, I'm actually going to get a drink just now. I've got my orange juice. So, if you're enjoying the stream, the content, hit like, subscribe, check out the description for the, Discord, and ways to support the channel through Patreon and my previous game on Steam, that even if you add it to your wish list, it would help. And I shall be back in 2 minutes. Don't go anywhere, folks. Okay guys, we're back. Now, here's the thing. There is a couple of changes here. Now, one of the reasons I wanted to have it separate, okay, is that basically I wanted it to like have an effect every, like, let's say 5 seconds, right? Because we want to ramp up the tension, right? And we can do this by, let's say, every 5 seconds, right? We could spawn a new text box, right? And that text box gets bigger and like moves out, right? I'm just deleting a bot here. So basically what it would do is like it count down 5 seconds and then another like something would pop out to sort of, or this gets bigger every 5 seconds, and so it sort of gets bigger after 5 and then gets smaller. So basically you've got 3 seconds of it at this size, then basically a second where it gets bigger, then a second where it gets smaller, and then it goes back to its normal size. Now I don't know how that's going to work. Well, it's going to work exactly like I said, but I don't know if it would work in a visual way, right? I mean, we could try it, I suppose. Right, now there is also a little bit of smoke and mirrors going on, right? This does not actually keep track of the tenths of seconds, right? All it's doing is pretending, right? That's just a display number that basically counts down from 9 to 0 in 0.1 of a second segments, right? So that's kind of a trick, because we don't really need to keep track of the time on a tenth of a second basis. But anyway, that's what that's doing. Now, what we could actually do is do this a couple of ways, right? What we could do is, if we go to our mini map, right, now I can't remember if this should be in the HUD. Right, here's the HUD, right? And as you can see, I've still not got around. Now, this is the total. And that's pretty awesome. Now, what I'd have to do here is I'd have to wrap this with a widget switcher, right? And we'll rename this WS underscore total or countdown. And then we're going to add a W underscore countdown. Right? But for our W countdown thing, we're going to have to revamp it right? Because we're going to have to basically straighten it out. And we're going to have to see how it looks. And we might completely change our minds on this one. I've got a sneaking suspicion that we are. So this canvas panel is basically going to disappear. Right? And fundamentally, we can probably delete this as well, but I don't really want to. What we could do is leave that as it is. Right, so we'll leave that there for now. Right? And in our minimap widget, we're now doing this. Right? So, in Pawn Chronicles, we are in fact not going to do this. What we're going to do is W underscore, okay, get ref minimap. Then we're going to get WS total or countdown. And then we're going to set index to 1. Okay. Then we're going to do that. And this will at least give us an idea of what we're looking at and how it's going to look if we do it this way. Right? Now we might not end up doing it this way, right? But I'm just having a play about. We're just prototyping here. I have got another idea for this. Right, so we pick up our minimap, we've got our total, and if we hit 0 or O, which activates our N level, I'll tell you what we'll do, we'll move this back out the way a bit. Right, so O. And that does absolutely sod all. Right, and for some reason our widget is still off kilter. That should not Alright, let's have a look if it's got any weird transformy stuff, which it doesn't seem to have, except for some reason it's doing its transformy stuff. So what we're going to do is we're going to copy that, right, and then we're going to delete the whole thing. Yeah, whatever, I know. Then we're going to paste it in. Then we're going to save it, and then it's not going to like it. Then we're going to have to plug these back in. Now what we're going to have to do is not do this on event construct. We're going to have to create custom event, and we're going to have to say start timer, and then time left, and that's going to be an integer. The reason is because we're constructing this now when the whole thing's basically done. Right, it's already constructed, remember, because it's part of the widget switcher now, right? So before we were starting the timer off when we were actually building the thing. And now we actually need to start it when we switch over on the widget switcher. Right, so this is tenths. And I believe the one above is actually seconds. Right, so that shouldn't be tenths. It should be seconds. Okay. So the next thing we need to do here is to set this. Right, and that's why I put a variable on this. Right, that's why I put an input on that, so that I can set it here, so that when we actually go to Pong Chronicles, we need to do one thing before we do this, and that is basically we set start we get W countdown, then we start timer. Okay, I wish I hadn't done that. Right, so now what we do is we do that, and basically we plug this into here. And now I'm hoping that our widget is in the right place and functions as we expect. Let me just bring that out the way. So we pick up our minimap, then we press 0, and that's cool. It's cool apart from the fact it's too big. Right, so if we go back to our cooldown and designer, that's been a pain. Then we select that and that and that. And we pull it down to, let's say, 18. And let's just check for a second. What's this total say? What size is that? 16. Okay, that gives us the size then. So we select that, that and that, and we say 16. Right? And then I wonder right, I'm going to try this, right? I'm going to wrap this with a size box. Okay. Apparently I can't do what I think I was doing. Okay, undo that then. The point being, let's do this. Right, our horizontal box. What's going on here? Why has everything disappeared? Let's try it anyway and see what actually shows up. Alright, so we finished that. And that looks exactly the same bleeding size as it did before. Right, we're going to escape that. And we're going to go to our minimap. And then we're going to wrap this with a size box. And let's say we make that 100. I'm just going to try this out, guys, see what actually happens. But what I want is the box not to move around. I just want it to stay, yeah, exactly like that. Right, but that font is still too big. Now, if I change that to 10, is that actually going to do anything? Apparently not. That's weird. Okay, so what's this wrapped in? It's wrapped in vertical box, then a horizontal box. Size wise 60. Size box. Override. Let's change that to 60. Press play. This is it, guys. I'm afraid this is where the fun starts with development, that you're mucking around with it's nearly doing what I want. Nearly. Now, did I wrap? No, I didn't. I thought I'd wrapped it in a whatever. Right, so this horizontal box takes pickups. And that's the one on the left, right? And that's Wolf Moon font. Then we've got this one, which is the one on the right. Right. Does that one have any padding on it? I wouldn't have thought so. So that's the same setting, but now we did wrap this in a size box. Aye. Right, have we got any weird stuff going on here? Nope, nothing out of the ordinary going on there. That's Wolfman font default. That's not. The only difference here is it's got this outline size on it. I'm going to turn this back to 0. I'm wondering if that's got some sort of an effect on things. Unlikely, but it's always possible, I suppose. We save that. Then we can try it again. It's still bigger. I mean, it isn't shockingly bad, right? It's not shockingly bad. But it's not shockingly good either. It could just be doing with being just a bit smaller. Right? Now, in the meantime, we've got our total pickups, right? And we actually want to do something with that. And we want to visibility, and it's going to be hidden. So that's probably going to make it look a bit better, but I still want it to be a bit smaller. It's got no padding, so that's all fine. Size box. Right, you've got no padding. So let's set that to 40. Let's set that to 80. Let's try a couple of things here and see what the outcome is. We're going to change that. We're just going to change a couple of things and see what the outcome becomes. Right. Now, don't get me wrong, that looks okay, right? Right, we're going to change this to 50 and see what happens. We'll change that to 25 to see if this is having any effect whatsoever. Apparently not. Apparently a size box does absolutely sod all. Right, I'll tell you what then. We'll do this to a scale box. Right? We don't want to do that. Undo it. Right. What we want to do is wrap this in a scale box. And then drag our undo that. Apparently we can't do that. So we'll undo that. And we'll wrap that with a scale box. And there we go. Okay. And now we can change our size box to be, let's say, 100 by 50. Play that. And it needs to be a tiny bit smaller. So we're going to say 80 by 40. Right, and I'm not going to do any more messing about with this. But that's looking okay to me. What do you guys think? Do you think that looks okay? My other idea was to like put it on the minimap, right? But literally put it on the minimap, like slap it right on top. I'll show you guys what I mean. Was to put it back at that weird angle, right? But like put it like here or something. Or do you think that's good? Answers on a postcard. What do you guys reckon? Or do you think I should have it somewhere else, like up the top here, or in the middle here, or wherever? Anybody? Anybody? Or do you think I should have the countdown timer here? What do you guys reckon? Hi Legend, how are you doing today? We're just doing a countdown timer. Oh, here comes the bad guy to come and get me. Oh no. Oh, he got me. Theoretically, I'm dead. Right, but I'll tell you what we need to do. right, is we need to actually put some more of our target points in. Right. Now, where was our target point? More to the point. Target point. Right, I'll tell you what we're going to do. What we're going to do is we're going to give this a tag in case we start using more target points, right? I'm updating a few things. What am I updating? I'm doing the end of level sequence. Right? I'm tidying it all up so that the wood breaks, the door's open, it creates a timer, it starts the timer, it shows you the portal, the monsters get new AI, and it's all working. But I'm not 100% sure about where I should put this countdown timer. But in the meantime, we are creating our target point. And do we have an actor thing? Yeah, we do. Here's the actor. Then there's the actor tag. Right? And then we're going to say portal. Right? And then we're going to duplicate it. Then we're going to move it somewhere. Basically, I was trying to get this working earlier, and I had an issue, but it wasn't because there was more than one, but I actually removed them just to make sure, so that I could get certain values that I wanted. That'll actually do for the target point too, I think, to be fair. Now, what we want to just make sure is that this, the actor component, has portal. Okay? Now, the next thing we need to do is update our pawn to make sure that it's checking target points for that tag. Now, I'm not using any other tags at this particular point, but it's a possibility I will. So the best thing to do is circumvent that issue when we're doing it. Right? So we're not going to get actors of class. What we're going to do, we're going to get actors of apparently actors of class with tag. Right, and that's going to be target point, and then it's going to be portal. Okay, and then all we need to do is drag that into there. Now these are the same thing, so we just drag this into here, then we drag that into there, and we drag this into here. Then we delete this, and now basically this is better, because if I ever use target points for anything else, as long as it gives them a different tag, or in fact even if I don't give them a different tag, this portal stuff will still work because we're getting a particular tag. So if I create target points later on that I don't use for portals and I don't actually set them as portals, then my portals will still be fine, right? So what we actually want to see here is for our different target points, right? Now we could move this up a bit. Yeah, that'll do. I'll just check it's not too far up to the top, which it is. And we'll just get this in line. That looks in line to me, except it might be off to the right a bit. That's fine, right? And now we can do a third one. So if we hit the Windows button, that's not going to do anything. Right, now what we can do is we can put one all the way over here somewhere. Right. Now we can set these up a bit more thoughtfully later, but the point is to make sure our logic is working, and that's okay. I believe. And we had it right the first time. Right, so that's fine. Now, here's the thing. What we want to make sure is, we'll save everything first. When we hit this, right, we get different timers, okay? So we're looking for the start time here, and it's 2:18, okay? So it's picked 2:18. So we stop that, we press play again, we press, oh, we don't press anything, we go and get our minimap. Right, and we're 164 to the one in the corner. So we're getting a separate time depending on which, right, we're basically dependent on which time or which portal we pick, or basically the computer picks, right, or the game picks, however you want to put it, right? So we're on 2:18, 164, and then 223, right, for the one at the top. So that's working perfectly. Right, our mini-map is looking good and working well. Our countdown timer is working even though it's actually not doing anything. Right, now my next idea, right, for super spookiness, I'm going to tell you when I come back. I'm going to have to go for a quick comfort break, and I shall be right back, and I'll tell you my next super sneaky, scary idea. Okay? So don't go anywhere. I shall be right back. Okay guys, we're back and here is my spooky idea. What I want to happen is when I put something on the wall, now I can make these. This I made in Substance Painter, right? What I want is basically like, you know how you hear the voices whispering to you? Well, when they pass this, I want like the whispering voices to tell you what this says. Yeah? Like, help me, help me, help me. So that's my spooky idea for spooky thing. Okay? Don't know what you think of that. I think it's spooky. But you guys can let me know in the chat if that's going to spook things up a bit. And I'm pretty sure I can make it myself in Audacity. Right, because all you need to basically do is say it once and then basically copy the track and then change the pitch to a few different pitches, and then basically mix it down into one track again, and then load it into, load it into Unreal Engine, and you've got your effect, right? And then you could either add the echo in Audacity, or basically, or reverb, or whatever way you want to call it, add the reverb in either Audacity or in Unreal Engine itself, right? But fundamentally, it's working. Okay. I'm not happy with I'm not happy with that pickups thing, right? And I'm not happy with the lighting. It can be too bright in places and too dark in others. Plus, those lights don't flicker on and off, right? They stay at a constant, which is bad. I don't like that. Right now, I have got code to make them flicker, which I might have a look at. Oh, maybe I don't. Right, so let's take a look at that. Okay. And we have BP light. Right. So this is our point light. Okay. Now, what I want to do here is, let's just do something, right? Let's just try something, right? So we'll stick it on event tick first, right? Right, we're just going to muck about, right? We're going to get an integer in range. Right? Ah, that's not what I wanted. Damn it. Right, integer in range. Right, we're going to delete that. Then what we're going to do is we're going to do begin play. I'm going to end up creating this thing. I just know it, I'm going to end up creating the whole thing. Right now, at the moment, we're on our light, our point light is on 1250. Right, and our attenuation radius is on 750. Okay, so let's pick a number 1000 and 1500, and that's going to be for our intensity, right? And then we're going to do a number between, let's say, 500 and 750 for our attenuation. Right, so intensity apparently I can't say intensity. Yeah, I can. Right, so we're going to set intensity and then a 10 attenuation radius. Right, and we'll write a custom event. And we're going to call it update lighting. We're going to save that. I should have plugged it all in first, but anyway. So we're going to set timer by function name, and let's say we run this every 5 seconds. In fact, we'll do random floating range, right? So that these basically run every X amount of time. So we'll basically say between 3 and 5, right? So that it's not updating every light at all times, right? Update lighting, and we'll try that and see what it does. See if we can start getting an effect that's going to make us happy. Right, so we'll do save all, and go. It's not enough. It's not enough of an effect. It is doing it. I can see it. Don't know if you guys can quite see it, right? But it's basically not enough. So let's try that again, shall we? We could put a bit more thought into this, but I'm just trying to get it to do something. Because as I said, I mean, the thing I'm really not happy with is the lighting. It's far too bright. I need somewhere with a bit of lighting. I mean, it is definitely doing something. You can see it, but I don't want to put too much processing time into this, right? It looks to me right, okay. I'm going to change that down to 500. And I'm going to bang this right down to 100. Right? Then I'm going to add a timeline. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get it to lerp, right, from its previous value to this new value, because it's too flickery, right? It's basically flickering between one value and the other, right? And that makes it really, really obvious that it's flickering, right? Whereas if alert between these two values, then it's going to be a smooth transition where it's going to get darker, but it's not going to be suddenly jumping darker, right? I mean, even if we make it just change from if we make it change from one value within a second, right? Even that second is going to make it more natural looking. I know that lights don't change like that, right? But you get my point. It's not going to be so just suddenly jumping to a different value, right? So I'm going to call it quits for today's stream. So if you've enjoyed it, hit the like and subscribe. Check the description for my Discord. You're welcome to join there. I'm always on Discord. And check out ways to support the channel. Patreon's there. You can get your name in the game. You can get an early build of the game. And also check out my previous game on Steam, which is a tower defense game. And even just put it on your wish list to help out. So thank you for watching. I'll be back on at 8 PM tonight, Central. And bye bye for now.